Hi everyone, I'm Stan from Eagle Vision. I'm here with Laszlo Baranyay from LB Architects. Laszlo, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we're talking about architecture and construction industry and whether, construction industry is better off without architects. So in this step, what we wanted to talk about is actually a little bit more of the tangible aspects of architecture and how it applies. So Laszlo, there is a first step that it seems that a lot of people end up skipping. If that step is skipped, a lot of buildings are doomed from the start.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, if the first step that you make impacts every decision that follows.
Right.
So we like to think of it as 20 lines equals $20 million.
Okay.
So each line is worth $1 million. And that's the way you should approach the first sketch.
Right.
So it has a huge amount of weight in how a building develops, and not just from the architects, but also from the client side, and then from the consultant side. And a building only gets more complex as the process continues. Goes down the line. So it needs to be as simple and refined as possible, as early on in the process.
Cool.
And that makes for the smoothest pathway forward.
Yep.
And that's why in our first step of the design process, we call it the site strategy step.
Right.
And it involves three separate areas that we look at. There's the site component, which is the what, it's the physical reality of what we do. The physical constraints, the financial realities as well, and the commercial awareness as well. And then we also, and that's where probably, I guess, most of that work, that's where the first step usually stops, a lot of the time. But the second stage of that is the story component. And that's the human element, that's the why. Like, why is the client wanting to do this? What are they trying to achieve with this project? And that involves a series of questions.
Right.
And there's no set questionnaire or anything like that, but it just evolves from a conversation. You obviously listen to your client, but you don't just listen to them and then give them what they tell you. You have to interpret it, and you have to then pick at, you have to look for the key moments that then reveal the true essence of what they're trying to achieve. And through that process, you can understand the true purpose behind what you're doing. So all of a sudden, it's not just a million types of variables. All of a sudden, you can hone in your focus onto a certain specific target. Right,
and an outcome.
Definitely.
Yeah, cool.
And then the third component of that is scenarios. So site, story, and scenarios. So scenarios, that's looking at the impacts of the architecture across time. So short, mid, and long-term scale. And we tend to take a generational look. Because obviously these buildings are going to be there long after us. Right? So, and we always say that building is the most costly thing that you can do on a building site. So, which is ironic because obviously we put buildings on sites. But I think if you have that mindset, that it limits the future potential of anything that could occur on that site, then you tend to be extremely more careful on how you deal with that over the long time frame.
Absolutely. Okay. So what are then some of the specific questions that you would ask a client at that stage?
So as I was saying, they're all quite different. And it's reading between the lines a lot of the time. But one example that comes to mind is a beach house that we're designing at the moment for an elderly couple. And they gave us their brief. Three bedrooms, 2 baths, and an area for a guest to stay.
Okay, sure.
And then we're like, okay, great.
Seems like a fairly straightforward brief.
And that's the kind of brief that you tend to get. And then you look at the site, you do the analysis part, orientation and the like.
Sure.
And then the story component, which is where you tend to ask the questions.
Right.
Once we started talking to them, we heard elements of family being very important to them, and the idea that their kids live abroad, and they want to, and then through a series of questions, we were able to then work out they actually wanted a place that brought the family together. Not just once a year or twice a year, but as many times as possible, and a place that their kids and grandkids actually wanted to come to. Right. So then you can hone your focus in on a design strategy that is not just a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home.
Right.
You know, with the guest suite.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it turned into three different pavilions with a central communal space.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Around a central courtyard. They each had their private entries. They could come and go when they liked.
Yep.
And it completely transformed the brief.
The nature of the whole thing, yeah.
Through the questions that you ask, and then how you then interpret that to reveal the essence of the design.
Yeah, interesting.
And it's easier then to take the client as well on the design journey, but then that also impacts council as well.
Of course.
If you have a strong story, a strong narrative, it helps everybody understand what you're trying to achieve, and so work towards that singular vision. Yeah,
brilliant. So Laszlo, I guess if you then design it in such a way that it's so custom built for this couple and this family, does that then prevent them selling it at the maximum price down the track if they do decide to move on from it?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and that's why we look at scenarios.
Right.
So, and this couple, they wanted to hold on to this asset for as long as possible.
Right.
And they wanted to keep it within the family.
Okay.
Right. So then, across time, that's the 3 pavilions can work independently. If one child decides not to stay there for a period of time, they can rent it out as an Airbnb and the like. So it has that flexibility inbuilt within it. But the family wanted it to stay within the family for the long term and be a family asset. So that's why we designed it that way.
Yeah, cool.
But definitely, if they were looking at more of a temporary solution, well, then they would come up with a completely different design strategy.
Yeah, right.
Because you combine the site, story, and the scenario together to be able to get the optimal result for them.
Yeah, great, fantastic. Very good. Look, that's all that we sort of wanted to cover in this episode on developing the brief and making it more tangible. Next time around, we're going to talk about another one of these kind of controversial topics about AI and architecture, how that is being, I suppose, challenging the traditional role of architects at the moment. Thank you for watching.